Coach on divorce.
How big is the divorce industry? Billions. It's true, it's a very important topic.
Almost as equal as death. They can also cry on your shoulder.
They can also call me in the middle of the
Oh,
night.
really?
There is the light at the end of the tunnel.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Катерина Азарова. Я вас приветствую на очередном выпуске подкаста Tulip Business Talks. И сегодня у нас будет англоязычный выпуск, потому что у нас англоязычная гостья, но тема настолько актуальная и важная, что я подумала, что все равно, конечно же, приглашу и мы обсудим. So, I did a quick intro in Russian, and now I'm happy to switch into English and introduce Barbara. Coach on divorce, ladies. I know that you've been waiting for this topic for quite some time, and you've been also writing in the comments that please, it's a hot topic. So, welcome. Hi, Barbara.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How are you?
Good. I'm really excited about this because it's true. It's a very important topic because we know the statistics are that 1 in 3 marriages they finished in divorce. So it's very common. Like almost everybody knows at least somebody who went through divorce.
It's not a joyful process. It's always painful. It's always difficult, complicated.
It's true. My experience is also like, it's even proven, I think, that it's one of the most life-changing events next to the losing a partner, let's say. Sometimes can be even worse because you don't get closure right away. But it's really underestimated how much impact it has on our lives if you have to go through divorce.
I read in one psychological article that it's almost as equal as death,
Yes.
When people go through divorce, and if it's a painful divorce, then it's really psychologically difficult for people.
Yeah, it's true. It's really difficult to rebound. But what my clients are, because I'm really passionate about women and I support women in divorce, but especially expats, because a lot of people live in other countries. However, the divorce rate is the same for everybody. And if you have to go through divorce, it's already difficult. But if you're then in a foreign country, away from your family and friends, it's much more complex. And also, what we see a lot, especially with experts, sometimes they move every 4 or 5 years to the other country. And once they are divorcing, they might be properties everywhere, pensions everywhere, and that gives another layer of complication.
Yeah, the financial issues.
A lot, yeah, but also the children, right? I mean, the story goes like usually you see when they get to know each other, they are young, highly educated people. They both have or their own business or they have a good job and they live somewhere. And then one of them gets a good opportunity abroad and then the other decides to follow. And in the meantime, they usually have children and divorces a lot happen around when the youngest are around 7, 10. And then what you see, what is the next complication layer is also that the children are used to already, they build up a life already in this other foreign country. And the judge will always go for as less change for the children as possible. So it's not really like possible, oh yeah, we divorced, I will move back, or one of the partners move back to the country. What I see a lot with women is a lot of times the women are the ones who following the partner. It's even more complicated because everything in that case, as an expert, everything is connected to the job of that person. So not only the job, but also the house, the insurance, everything, also the social circles, the children's school, everything. So the women are a lot of times trapped because even if she was before a lawyer or had some other business, she cannot pick it up right away in different country. Then you would think, oh, she will move back and then start there, but she cannot until the youngest is 18. So, and you see a lot that even they don't know how to find the right way to the help, to support, even financial support, which it's belonging to them. In the Netherlands, now we are in the Netherlands. Or you see also that they don't have sometimes the same rights, let's say divorcees.
Absolutely. And we will, of course, go in details into the subject because there is so much to discuss. And of course, we'll discuss the book. But I always start from the question how you yourself ended up in the Netherlands.
I immigrated for love. It was very long time ago, 27 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was married to Dutch, that's true. Yeah, so we got married. We have 2 children.
Yeah. Originally, you are from which
I
country?
am from Slovenia.
From Slovenia.
And my background is clinical biochemistry, which is not coaching at all. I worked all these years also in pharmaceutical industry, but I wanted to be coach for a long time. And in 2008, I got myself a coaching degree. And then I started to coach as a life coach. However, when divorce happened to me, which is now already 15 years ago, then I wrote the book, and then suddenly more and more women started to come to me. Because I was thinking as an expert, before divorce happened, nobody thinks about divorce, right? So I was thinking like, oh yeah, it's European country, so if that happens, then everything is arranged
Yeah,
and
you're
it's gonna be
protected.
okay. Yeah. But then when it happened, it was far from that. It was a very, very difficult divorce. Luckily, they are not all of them like that. So, but one, and then I was thinking like, oh, if I would only have somebody who would take me by the hand and just guide me through. And when I went through, I was thinking like, oh, at least I have all this knowledge now, experience. So I put it in a small book, which is very compact, but it's a golden. It's actually 9 steps through divorce, but just to not forget anything, just to go through.
You just go step by step.
Yeah, so.
And get the things done.
Yes, but also to make you think about things that we quickly forget, and every divorce is different, and it's not applicable every step for every divorce, but I just gathered everything.
No, I can imagine, because you can be easily overwhelmed. There's so much to keep in mind when you go through divorce, especially I don't know, maybe not especially, but I will be talking about myself as a woman with kids, with work, with business. You don't have anybody, family or friends who can really support you, like at home. You can just drop the kids and have time, make time for yourself to check these things and to tackle the boxes. So I think it would be really handy to have this direct 9 steps to follow.
I even have a checklist at the back of the book that you can go through. Yes. Yeah, but it's true. It's really, because emotionally, when you go through divorce, it's also really tough. Especially once you have children, you have to be there for them emotionally as well. And actually, sometimes it can feel like you are dying. And right at that moment, you have to make really, really important decisions, and very fast also, which they will have influence on your life, but on your children's life forever.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just too much. You cannot, and you have to run the daily life still next to it. And if the divorce doesn't go really smoothly, it's also very difficult. If the fights are starting, sometimes it's like a war. It's really hard to get through. Yeah.
Because how we met, you reached out because you wanted to find somebody who can help ladies with the financial side of divorce, which can be also very complicated and, of course, has huge impact on ladies' lives. But in principle, financial situation is only part of this big process. What do you, from your experience, find the most difficult? So which part of the divorce, legal part, kids, housing, finances, emotional state, what do you think is the most difficult and most difficult for ladies, for expats?
I think every divorce is different. I don't know, but I see that when the children are involved, it can be very long. Even after, it's like a running marathon, because, you cannot turn it back. You will have to split on the end, right? But once you're connected with children still, and if that doesn't go really well, that the parenting plan, and that can really start affecting you emotionally, because it's a lot of fights, or maybe just in the communication through emails, through WhatsApp. I see it's a lot of still prolonging, the abusing, the partner. So, but you want to do the best for the children, actually, from both sides. Usually they're forced to, because of the children, they're forced to collaborate. but there are still so many emotions there, so sometimes it goes for years, and that is very exhausting.
Exhausting.
So I think the children, that's the difficult part.
And the coaching normally, the idea of coaching that you have point A and you have point B, and the coach normally, as you said, take your hand and walk with you from this point A to point B and make it probably the easiest or the most comfortable way. So what normally the point B for divorce situations?
So what I do, I focus on three things. So first is a strategy, because every divorce is different. And sometimes in certain divorce, you need to do certain things really quick, make quick decisions, and the others you can save for later. Yeah. And it's every time different. So, so strategy is really important, and also depends what kind of relationship is. Like also, sometimes it could be also violent. So then you really need to be quick in these things. And why is that also important is because if many times women, I even also coach men. I had 2 men clients already. Yeah. They came.
Is it different?
No. But I really specialize for women, but they came to me and they said, oh, I know you're for women, but would you help me as well? I said, sure. So it's okay. I mean, I do that as well. For a person, for the partner who is maybe in an abusive relationship, it's really hard to see for themselves that they are and to break away. So then it's also important really for support when that's not the case, but that can be emotionally abusive relationship as well. It's also, we are so brainwashed in such a situation. It's so hard to break away. So that's also where I can coach or help, or, like to see the problem from different perspective to bring some clarity. So the strategy, the second one is emotional and mental support all the way to the end, and even as a post-divorce recovery, I do that a lot also. Okay. Third one, which is very important, is communication, coaching on the communication, especially when the things get tough. A lot of people think, oh, once I'm divorced, it's gonna be better. No. Usually the first year and after is the worst, but then it gets smoother. I mean, you just have to get through, and you have to get used to the new situation, both partners. And there I can really support and coach with, especially with, communication through messages, through emails. That can be sometimes very, very toxic. So to try to keep it.
Yeah, because it's not the end of the life after divorce. The life goes on.
But at the moment when, that's nice what you said, because it's true. A lot of people, because it's such an emotional distress, that a lot of people think only that, okay, as if I'm...
Let it happen.
Yeah, let's get done with it. Yeah. And then everything will be okay. But it's, it's really important how it's done for later. The decisions which they are made in the divorce process. And I would expect that the lawyer or mediator would guide that really well, which is not the case always, no. Which is very sad. So also that I'm helping with choosing the right... it starts also the book, what you're going to choose, the mediator or the lawyer, and what are the reasons for, but also... It's a very important person. So you need to have a good click with this person. And a lot of times we see that people start with somebody. Halfway they found out that actually it's not working, that it's not the right person. But they think, oh yeah, but now I'm already in, I'm not gonna change the lawyer, which I always advise do.
Okay.
Because it can make big difference. So, but it's not everybody for everybody. So it's also there where I coach a little bit. Mm-hmm. And like you said, financials, it's really, especially expats, they came from the well-situated life. Usually they had this great life with all the social activities, with traveling and everything. And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times women, they don't do anything with finances, or they even don't know what's going on. Sometimes they do, or sometimes they do just half, but which is very important, because once you're married, you usually, at least that's how it goes, usually, we do all together. And we all do it together. And you see that once they decide to divorce, the mindset is still, I'm gonna ask our accountant, or our lawyer, or our we do all together, and then I really need to coach them to get the mindset. Listen, it's gonna be from now on. It's yours and his, and it's not so difficult. You really just need to understand that you can do it, and somebody will show you, and just you be responsible for your own decisions, and even if it's just to have the oversight of what's going on, it's important. Even if decision would be again the same, like together, but still at least you decide it for yourself, and that is really important.
Of course, I also work a lot with ladies, helping them with their tax filings, so with some financial issues, maybe with the tax matters. And quite often, if they were married with a Dutch person, of course, Dutch person knows a little bit, or sometimes much more, about the tax system, all the benefits, how they can manipulate.
Yes.
Sometimes in the certain situations, especially if they have businesses, if they have assets worldwide.
They call it creative boekhouder.
Yes, they call it creative boekhouder. And the ladies, they have no clue. They just, they've learned to trust. They've learned that the husbands are normally in charge of finances and all the tax filings. And they sometimes don't even know how to log into the Lasting's cabinet and just to see what is happening there. Yeah. They say, I don't know if it was filed or not. I don't know what was filed in my tax declaration. I actually don't even know what are the numbers behind this business, which suddenly became not successful, but very like
I have
the
so
other way around.
many cases like that.
Yes.
Because suddenly then the numbers needs to come out, and
Yes.
then it's actually not successful business, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of debt.
A lot of debts and losses and everything.
And that has major influence on her then, and also on the children.
So you see also this a lot in practice.
Because also what you see, the part is also about how to go about at the time that you decide to divorce, what you still can do, even if you don't understand, but just how to search up anything of the documentation, finances on the family computer, whatever you can, whatever you have access to, or even request access from your ex if you're on speaking terms. Because what we see a lot is on the beginning of divorce is like everybody, oh no, everybody's sweet and we will talk it out and it's gonna be all great and we're gonna share everything, which a lot of times, and it's normal because when the tough gets going, then emotions get really high, and then suddenly some files are not available anymore and stuff like that can happen. So I usually say here also, just go through, copy everything, even if you don't know what it is, as long as you have access, just copy, send it somewhere on the safe place, not on the family computer, because might be that one day you will need it and maybe not. Maybe you won't, but it's always good to have. And also things like, I'm very always surprised. I thought that the lawyers should say once you enter, the first thing is you have to, they call it here, pile datum is a reference date. They will say, oh, we have to decide which is the reference date. And the reference date, it works like they decide this is the date, and on that date, it looks like they would take the picture snapshot of that situation. Yeah. And from there out, everything will be divided. Yeah. However, what happens often in practice, they're deciding we're gonna divorce or not, and it goes on like 6 months or maybe even longer, and then finally it comes, we're gonna decide now we're gonna divorce, then they go to the lawyer, it's almost a year later. And in the meantime, the person, one partner usually wants decide now we're gonna divorce, so the person who decided is often already busy with preparing, which means, for example, joint accounts or some savings or stuff, they suddenly disappear, or you see that a lot of assets are sold, like, I don't know,
pledged or something.
Or even, like suddenly they start selling boats and motors and weekend houses in the other country. Because on that day, they're not there, it's nothing to divide. Or even you see one partner moves out to the other house and they take everything from joint account to refurnish the new house. And then on the end, it's nothing to divide because then they say, yeah, but that was before the divorce. So that is the first thing, also the first lesson. Once you decide to divorce, just as soon as possible register the reference date, the pijldatum. Yeah.
Yeah. How it is called in Dutch, you said?
Pijldatum.
Pijldatum. Very important, ladies.
This is important. Yeah, that's true.
As you already said, there are a few things which you can do kind of proactively to get ready for the divorce. Because I think from my personal experience, of course, there are already some signs that there is a chance that divorce is going to happen. And quite often people probably prefer to ignore it, just to say, nah, no, it's going to be fine. Yeah, let's let go. But if you honestly tell yourself, yeah, okay, these are the signs that this can happen, what a woman can do proactively to get at least a little bit prepared for potential divorce.
The first thing I want to say, something else, is really like what I see often. The women then they think, okay, divorce is coming. So first I need to find a job, then I need to find a house, and then I'm gonna divorce.
Yeah.
No. First divorce, then the house, and then maybe a job. And why? Because it could be that you're in much more beneficial position if you don't have a job and no house. Because especially in the Netherlands, you have a lot of extra support from
social
benefits. And for example, there are also some, but that you would know better, there are also some maybe things which are not so beneficial. So for example, the one with a higher income has to pay alimony to the one with a lower income. So there are a lot of things which they need to be taken into account to see what's going to be the final result financially for the woman. So I would always say just go first for divorce, and then we'll see what comes out. And on the basis of your financial status at that moment, maybe you have a right for the other house, for something that you otherwise wouldn't have. There are so many possibilities. So first divorce, then the house, and then we see if you need to work and how much you need to work. That would be the first thing. And what you said, if you would want to prepare, just to gather all the documentation and get yourself financial advice. Independent, it's really just like 2-hour advice.
It doesn't cost a fortune.
Really, and it can make such a difference in your life and your children's life forever, generations down the road. So this is really the number one, just to establish your baseline, to see what, especially if you're an expat, then also it's really good to have somebody who would know both sides, because especially within Europe and also out of Europe, it's important if you have properties in other countries, and also if pensions are somewhere else. It's such a big influence. So it's somebody who has who works with experts, that has a more overview, or at least knows the person from that country who knows the law from that country, because that's not always the same. And that's really important, just to have your separate overview. What I would say more, build your own tribe, your support group. Because it's true, it's really sad, but divorce, it's almost like when you get a bad diagnosis, then it seems like a lot of friends suddenly disappear, which you would think that they are there.
Or they choose the side.
They choose the side. Or they just disappear because they cannot choose the side. But it's also positive, at least from my experience, it's positive that some people which they were not really friends, but just people that you know, they show up really and
just
support,
eliminate.
and they become friends. So be prepared that can happen, but really surround yourself with people which they will support you in everything. I mean, just practical stuff, but also emotionally, because it's gonna be rough, but there on the other side is so much better. So it's worth to go through it. And it may be also not be so rough. Sometimes they are very easy divorces, especially when children are already bigger. They both agree that they want a divorce, and they don't make a big fuss about assets, and usually it can go also really smoothly.
Quite often I hear the question from ladies like, shall we go for mediator or for the lawyer? I cannot really have an opinion about that. I can have an opinion about finances and numbers and tax issues. But this is something I cannot say if it's better that or that option. Maybe you have any advice or maybe something to look at when you make this kind of choice.
What I see in practice a lot is like it's also very popular to have a mediator now.
Yeah.
All the judges
It's
they
also
they
much
push
cheaper.
for yeah, but this is exactly the wrong reason to go. All the judges push, oh yeah, mediator, and it can work really good, especially. But the mediator needs to be really good because as lawyers, as mediators, we have a good ones and less good ones. Because also mediate some, sometimes the discussions are very heated, and to mediate that, you have to be also very good and strong. But they are also very good mediators to keep that neutral. The reason to go for mediator to make it cheaper is a wrong reason, which is sometimes true, but also not. Because why it's a wrong reason is if you go to the mediator and mediation will fail, because sometimes can fail, they stop and they say, we cannot continue, then you will start with the lawyers from then on. So it's going to be even more expensive because, or maybe even some of them, they go for the next mediator and then start from the lawyers. But what I would say, if you are on the speaking terms and if you agree on most things, but some not, but you think you're able to talk it out, and if you have then guidance of somebody would maybe work, then I would go for mediator, because it's also nicer if you can together find the middle path, However, if it's already on the beginning that it's really difficult to talk, or it's only fights, or you didn't talk already for 2 months at all, there is no communication, then it has to be really fabulous mediator to mediate that, because I wouldn't go for that. And what is also important is to know that mediator is there to represent your both rights.
Yeah,
rights from
correct.
both of you. The person cannot take
He cannot choose the
sides.
side. No.
For example, if you're in an abusive relationship or in a narcissistic abusive relationship, you know already the communication is sometimes difficult, that you get manipulated in certain things. So I really believe in that kind of situation, you need somebody on your side to represent your rights. And in that case, I would really go for the lawyer. And once you decide to have a lawyer, the other party is supposed to take a lawyer. I mean, you cannot go for mediator anymore, but they're also free not to take somebody to represent them. They just can represent themselves if they want to, but it cannot be mediation anymore.
What I also learned that if the person started as a mediator, he cannot be a lawyer later on.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you already started with him as a mediator, he can only continue as a mediator.
Yes, if that doesn't work, you have to go and choose another
lawyer.
Yeah.
When you step in as a coach, so how some mechanics behind the process. So the lady contacts, reach out to you first, and then you make an appointment, you come to know each other, and then?
I have a free online call because every story is different, but also ladies contact me in very different stages of the divorce. Some of them, they contemplate divorce. I have even client, she contemplated divorce, then she said, oh no, I'm not doing it. And 2 years later, she was back. Now she's divorced. Because
That sounds familiar.
sometimes we think, oh no, we're going to solve it other way.
Yeah.
I understand. I have also stages that they are in the middle of the divorce because maybe the other partner decided to start running divorce and they thought, oh, we're going to talk it through, and then things get really tough and then they decide, oh, I need some help. Or sometimes I even have that they were like surprised by divorce and it went really wrong and they're on the end of divorce, and just to pick up the pieces and how to start from there. So usually we have a free online call. I call it discovery call. And then we make appointment, but I work with the packages because first I found out in all these years of the practice that you usually need around at least six coaching sessions, and that is approximately 3 months. But that's very flexible because on the beginning we need more coaching sessions to prepare. Then maybe it can be quiet, but once it starts the process, it goes really quick, and then it's just waiting for signing, and then you can have more space in between. But that's very flexible. Then we usually just I plan the coaching sessions every 2 weeks, but then we move them if it's needed. So, and then we reconnect every 2 weeks on the coaching session, where we really target. On the first one, we make the strategy, the plan, and then we target what is the most important part. But in all these months, they have unlimited access to me with WhatsApp. And if it's really urgent, they can also call me in the middle of the night. Doesn't matter because it's
really?
really It doesn't happen so often, but sometimes
That's
it's
not the Dutch
panic.
service.
No, Slovenian. No, but I know how it is, like if it's really bad things happening and they don't know anymore what to do, then usually they call me, but it's not really often. But WhatsApp, it works really well because sometimes you really need quick answer and you're in certain situation and you don't know how to proceed. So then I can support.
So they can also cry on your shoulder?
A lot, yeah. But it helps. You're all alone. You're in a difficult position. They push you from some sides to make decisions. You don't know what to do. It's so good to have somebody to be objective from outside, to just put the facts, in the line, and you think like, and then you say scenarios 1,
from
2,
the distance.
3. Let's take a good decision now. It's really important, yeah.
So a package, and if it's needed, they can buy another package and continue with more sessions.
A lot of times happens for the post-divorce recovery because that's the fun part.
Tell us a little bit more about that, because this is not something I heard a lot about, the post-divorce recovery. This is indeed also a long process.
Listen, if you are already for a while married, you were a unit with a certain person, with a family, so it's really just a simple things. Once you divorced, suddenly you find yourself like, oh, I need to go for vacation alone, and a lot of people are not used to, let's say, then everything starts differently. So suddenly in different situation, like holidays, like Christmas and stuff, it can be very difficult. You also want to have somebody there, and you need to. Your life is now different. You need to start building new memories. And actually, you're free to do whatever you want. But at that time, because you went through so much sorrow, people are really shattered and they need to find themselves first again. But of course, at a certain point, you get used to, you start making these steps, you start making new friends maybe. And also the dating comes into the picture, which is for many people a big step, after years. I mean, I really love that part because they so rediscovered themselves, and you can see them from really such a bad position. They were so sad and down, and suddenly they just blossom. So it's really good to have somebody to support you, because human, we always go, when something bad happened to us, we always go
down and then up.
It's a shock. It's a shock, and then you go down with, oh, what's gonna happen? It's horrible. You go down, 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 and everything is black. You go in the spiral down till you hit the rock bottom.
The bottom,
Once you hit the rock bottom, then you start getting some glimpse of hope. And then you think, oh yeah, but maybe it's not too bad. And then you see more and more, and then you come out. And that is the process that we always do, also with the divorce, but with other stuff in life as well. And depends, some people go faster through that, and some people go deeper, some people go less. But I am very good to guide them through that, yes.
But we can say from our personal experience that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not the end of the world, ladies. It's
for sure.
It's going to be fine.
There is the light at the end of the tunnel. Can I say just a little anecdote?
Sure.
When I was in divorce, which was really bad, I met somebody who went through divorce before, and I even didn't know her, was just from somebody else, friend. And then she just said this short sentence in between in our conversation. She said, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And for me, that meant everything. And like you said, like we can tell you there is the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's shining brighter than before.
Yeah, and my question is that, and also statistics shows us that there are so many divorces, and it's not something unusual anymore. It's very common, but still there is so much shame connected to the subject. So ladies are not happily share. Of course, it's very painful. And why there is so much shame still, and what to do with this shame, and how to start talking about this, and just open up and just discuss it with people, at least with other women who are around you.
It varies a lot from culture to culture. You see that in more Western culture it's easier to
Easier,
start
I
up,
see.
but it's
Yeah.
still, I work with a lot of different cultures. You see, in some cultures it's very difficult. And it's also interesting because also some families, they keep it. I mean, the women themselves, they actually are then called guilty if they decide for the divorce from their own family, which is really a difficult thing. But what we could do about it, there are quite some support groups around. I think for sure, this is one of the things that everybody has to do once it's contemplating divorce, just join the other support groups of women in divorce. There are quite many. I was running one and I'm starting a new one
Okay.
online, because even just sharing information or just feeling that you
Not
know
alone.
that you are not alone and that they are going through. Just ask yourself why it's so much shame. Is it because usually it's because we were programmed like that actually as a children, right? It's more in our subconscious and in subculture, and probably at that time maybe that was like that and it was important like that. However, now we are living in a very different era. I don't want to be too long with this, but I also have I'm giving some speeches about the patriarchy is dead. It's a very controversial sentence. But honestly, if you just go quickly through why actually marriage it started existing, it was actually never meant to be connected to love at all. It was a business
economical.
deal. It was pure economical. And then later that was added. And it made sense at that time, because at that time women didn't have any rights.
And they
at
couldn't survive
all.
alone.
That was the only way to survive.
Yeah.
And of course, how it's set up, it's also set up that way. And it was like the husband was the owner because it was his asset. And why it was also done is because women, they couldn't own any assets, and husband wanted to know that his assets will be inherited by his children. So
Yeah.
how you make sure that these are your children, it was like, that's how it went actually. Nowadays, women, at least in the West, we are equal. Kind of, at least you have a right to work and be able to support ourselves, to own assets. So for this reason, you don't need a partner. But the idea of the marriage is still the same, which fundamentally it's wrong.
It doesn't match anymore.
It doesn't match anymore. So because once you don't stay with somebody because you need him, or other way around, but you stay because you want to, then the relationship, the arrangement should be very different than it is. So that's why I think there are so many divorces, because patriarchy, how it was set up, it's also not functioning anymore. That's what we also see in society, but that's the other podcast.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be in the future, it's gonna be marriage very much restructured, if not redundant. So that would be the solution also, to not have so many divorces.
Yes.
Can you imagine how big is the industry of weddings? The wedding industry is billions, right? It's on our romantic idea.
Of course.
And how big is the divorce industry? Billions. Not necessary.
So not
unnecessary.
necessary. And because our podcast is about entrepreneurship and immigration, do you happen to have ladies who do business in the Netherlands and get divorced?
Yeah, I had. Yeah, few.
But it's another layer. It's because I also faced that. I had business, and going through divorce, meaning that you can lose your business. It's as sensitive as losing a child, when you fight over co-parenting or who has kids, where, how. It's as emotional as splitting the kids.
And also really important, because if you're divorcing, you already are in your private life losing quite a lot. And the business if you would lose that as well. It's
Yeah, that's
even worse, right? But I think you have yourself, you have a really strong experience with that.
I have strong experience with that, and I'm happy to share. If somebody from the ladies who are watching, or men going through divorce, being a businessman, then I can definitely give an advice.
Yes.
Have a good accountant. Also know well the numbers. And if you see the signs of divorce, also get prepared from your own financial position. Know what you have on balance sheet, know what potentially you can lose and still be fine in business. And ideally, of course, try to keep the business, because there are ways how to do that, but you need to know a little bit more about the system and about the accountancy and financials. So again, as you said, it's very important to get financial advice. I would say that for business people, it's even much more important
Yes.
to get financial advice before you get divorced.
But then they are on the right address to come for advice. And also, I think it's really important to, once you have the lawyer, that person, it's also experienced in that cases. It's not every lawyer experienced in that cases. So
absolutely
they
not.
need to know.
Someone who experienced. And compared to kids, because when you have kids, you both are emotionally involved, you both know the value, you both of course know how painful it is to lose parenting rights or something. With business, the other partner, he doesn't understand that there is so
Yes.
much value. He's thinking like, yeah, okay, why not? Because we share everything. We
Yes.
share everything equally, let's also share the business. And he doesn't understand how much your value, your time, how
You build it from
you
the
build it from the scratch.
Yes.
How much you put inside, and that is so painful also for you.
That can be very difficult.
And you yourself, you also got registered in the Chamber of Commerce, and you
Yes, I
also have your own entrepreneurship. Was that part difficult for you, or it was okay?
Oh, to start here? No. This is very easy, and you get a lot of information. And Chamber of Commerce, they really also even offer coaches for people which they would like to start. No, that's not difficult.
And at the end, we normally end with some quick questions. Do you do any educational programs at the moment?
For myself, right now not, but I did not long time ago the marketing course.
Which is also very important, of course, for business owners.
Yes.
And just out of curiosity, so you wrote the book, and now I know that it's possible to buy it on bol.com, in Dutch and English.
Yes.
So in English it's also possible. Is it difficult to get your book being sold on bol.com?
No.
No.
Also not.
Okay.
So I think now, I don't know, because this one is a while ago, but I think now it's even easier with AI in the way that even if you want to write the book, you can do it with AI really easier. What it also is already for a long time is that it's printing on demand. So you can just do it, you put it on bol.com. They handle everything for printing. You can choose. If they handle that, then you pay them more, and otherwise if you want to do it yourself.
But do they do any pre-selection, or you need to pay something, or how that works?
No, it's per how much you per sold.
So
how
they get
many
a percentage.
the percentage
commission.
of it. And that commission, depends. You have different packages, so you can decide how much of work they will do, or how much of work you will take, and then it's a lower percentage.
So it's not a rocket science eventually.
No. It's almost like Amazon is also very easy, right? It's all the same.
What is the most complicated tax for understanding for you?
What I find it difficult, and it's probably not for the rest, but for me, it's like just to keep overview of everything. Because I know for sure that they are the laws which I don't know that they are. And then I often feel, because I don't have the overview of everything, I don't take the benefits of everything. And that's why I think it's very important to have a good accountant, because they know these laws and they know when they change also, because it's changing a lot. So you have to be actually up to speed, which I'm not also interested, and I'm not. But so the answer is have a good accountant who loves to do that.
Have you ever experienced hate in social media when somebody puts the negative comments or?
really hate, not, but maybe more like challenging. Who do you think you are that you can talk about this? Challenging the authority, let's say.
Yeah. Do you respond or you don't ignore, or what's your strategy?
I do respond once, and if that goes on, and I see, I have to try to find out what is behind that. It's just like a spurt of the moment, or what's the goal of that person. But I don't respond too much. It's once, and if it goes on,
Then it's
then I ignore.
just give up. Yeah. Okay. And what should be the question which the person should ask himself when he starts the entrepreneurial journey?
Probably I never asked myself that. I just
You just jumped.
became. Because for me it was more like, oh, I want to do that. Yeah, I guess I have to be entrepreneur. More like that, yeah. They need to understand, because I say, oh, a lot of people think, oh, it's so romantic. Then you have,
It's very
you decide
romanticized.
you have decide your free days, you do what you want. But what I think it's important to also to ask yourself, if you are able to push yourself to do things which you don't like to do at the moment, that you don't want to do, do you have the discipline to push through at the moments when they are not the nicest? If you're working for a boss, they will push you through. You will have to be there, and you will have to do it even if you don't want to be. But also in your own business, there comes moments that, I don't know, deadlines or stuff that you really, the tasks that you don't like, but you there, and then it's easy to say, oh, I can do it tomorrow. But actually, the discipline to push yourself through to do that, yeah.
Thank you so much. It was really pleasurous to talk to you about this sensitive and not an easy subject. And at the end, we normally offer a kind of small gift for our audience.
Yeah, just because I am on the podcast, thank you so much to be invited. And I think it's really important that we spread the word about it. And there is the light on the end of the tunnel. So for everybody who listened to that, for the first 5, I can offer 25% off of the package. So if you are right now contemplating divorce, or only thinking, you even don't know if you are supposed to divorce or not, just book the calendar with me just for the discovery call. And, we just have a talk to see what is your situation. And who knows, maybe you will have more clarity on it. But yeah, that is what I can offer.
And thank you so much for doing this work and for being so passionate about ladies, about the happiness of ladies. I wish you just to grow your business and write more books.
Oh yeah, the second one is due.
Okay.
I will come around once it's finished.
Yes, please. So we are looking forward to, and hopefully to see you next time with more content.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I just also want to say that you are doing a really important job in this, really, because the finances are the second most important thing in a divorce. So I'm so glad that you're also here and supporting them through that. So thank you for inviting me. Thank you for spreading the word.
Thank you so much.